Sandy Schreck for LBR Educates, and today we're going to take a look at some great designs with sunflowers. But we're actually designing in the new Renewal foam from Smithers Oasis. This is a plant-based floral foam that's made with no dyes. It's a rich, deep black color. It soaks up, takes a little bit longer to soak, but it soaks into this rich black color, and so it's a little bit darker than the midnight foam. But it acts just like it. So it has the strength of that. And you can see we're going to be putting some thick stems in it, and it's not going to break down and such. So let's get started. So sunflowers can be something that create stopping points when you're going in looking into a design. Somebody puts them in and they're facing right at you. They can really stop your eye. It's great for a focal point, but it can be dominant and not lead you into a design. So what I want you to do is take a look. When I use sunflowers, it's going to be the first thing that I put in. I'm going to take a look at my two sunflowers and see how they can angle together. And the reason I'm going to put them in first is because sometimes you put them in at a weird angle to be able to get that placement so you're able to go into the design. And so we're going to take a look at these and look at the scale and proportion of one to the other, how they're going to work together. And so this one's going to be my lower one and come down into the focal area. I'm going to bring my fingers right to the foam and feed my fingers right up that stem to be able to get a nice deep insertion in on that, and then come in with my second one. You can see they're really thick stems, but we're able to come in. You just walk your finger up the stem, and then that way it gets it down into the area. So the Renewal foam is just like the Oasis foam, holds a very similar amount of water, but the last place the water is going to be is within an inch of the bottom if nobody adds any water to this. So that's your target area for your insertion. So you can see here that we got those insertions in down nice and low, and they're going to work together. So one other product we're going to be using today is a lily. And many times the lily is used down into the focal area, and you'll put it down there and you take a look at the buds to see which one's going to be opening first. But lots of times it is open, so you put that one in, but then you surround it by other flowers. And when those other two flowers open, they don't really have a place to go. And so we're actually going to be using our lily today up in the top of the design, and so that it has space to be able to mature. And so when this opens up, it'll be a beautiful, beautiful statement for your customers. As we look at this composition, here you can see our finished design, and just highlighting here how the sunflower placement draws you into the design, and you're able to move in and get that depth through the design on the composition. I've used 3 of the stock that go in more that triangle pattern, and then the same thing is repeated in with the Solidago, is doing those geometric shapes that your mind connects through those interactive lines. And so this may be a normal arrangement that you have in your cooler all the time, but we're going to take a look at creating this in a horizontal pattern to just show you the same flowers and how they can be a little bit more interesting. So to create this horizontal design, so we are using the Renewal foam again. You can see because of the horizontal placement, I am going to go about 1 inch above the container here and have that brick a little bit higher so I have a little bit more insertion height. Trim the corners, and then I'm going to come in with my Fatsia leaf and just come in and get that to cover, lay down. We're going to be poking our flowers just right through that Fatsia leaf. And next we're going to come in with our birch branches, and rather than going vertical, we're going to come in horizontal. And to do that, we're just going to lay them on here. And I've got a Dixon pin. And this is a wood pick that has a metal connection in it. And then you're just going to be able to slip that down and tie that right in. We're going to be poking our flowers kind of through this as well. So that will also keep those in place. And so I don't have to use a ton of them. And so I'm just going to use one on each of those, and so that I do get some height and volume on there. So we're going to take a look at how our sunflowers are going to work together. So this one has kind of a normal bend, so I think I'm going to go there, and then I'm going to use this one in the focal area. So you can see that they're going to not go in the normal fashion. I'm going to get them in early and come in and feel where my foam is. I'm going to do a little slit and then come through and just feed that lily right into there. And then I'm going to come in with my one right down into the focal area. So you can see how those two work together, and that's going to be our focal point. And then we're going to come in. Then rather than the lily going up, I'm going to let it be here. I'm going to have it come over and bring it over into the area over here. We're going to add a little bit of height and dimension, and when that lily blooms, then it'll feel like it all comes together. And then we're going to add our stock to add a little bit more impact. So this is going to be an asymmetrical composition where it's a little bit heavier to one side than the other. You can see where we've got our focal over here as an anchor, and then kind of coming back and forth. So then we're going to reinforce our focal and just bring this same magenta color in the carnations down back to the other side. So just doing some basing with those carnations. Then with our palms here, we want to reinforce that shape that we have coming with the sunflower. But if I use them like this, they're going to be too dominant. So what I'm going to do is clean them up and create a little bit more like line flowers. So if I take off kind of every other bloom or so, I'm able to create more of a line composition with that. And these I'll be able to use as basing coming back into our composition. So you can see there how those pull back. And then rather than put these all in one at a time, I'm going to take little families and bring them together, 3 stems, and then I'm going to just feed those in together as little groupings. and that'll help to kind of pull my eye back and forth. All right, so we can feel that dominance over here, and to balance that out, we're going to use some of the aganis that will come back and trail the other way. This will bring that darker brown color in that's in the center of the sunflowers and also in the birch branches, and help to extend some of that color and create a little bit more depth and color balance. You just see how adding those two pieces just really kind of pulls it together. And then to get that movement from one side to the other, I am going to bring one over in here and just coming down and cutting, trying to keep it on that main stem because that's going to be the fastest for me to be able to insert. And then we'll have a little bit come in through the center that makes that connection back and forth. And just take a look at some coming that way as well. We have one more little piece, and we're going to come here. And so you can see now how just adding, that was I think 2 pieces of aganis that brought that together. And then we're going to add some of the solidago. And so this is the same kind of thing. Like this one's a little bit more linear, but this one is too dominant. So I am going to edit this one so that it is more of a linear presence. And I can take it, cut out the center so that I can use this piece down a little bit longer. You'll see I'm removing the foliages because the foliage is some of the first things that goes on the solidago, but the flowers are longer lasting. And so I'm doing the same kind of thing with those side shoots that I pulled off. So I've got this longer piece, and I'm going to bring it in, and I'm going to do that cut end down so that you don't see where that was cut. And then this smaller piece, of course, can come into the center. And then I've got a little bit more linear piece, and I'm going to bring it back over here. So I'm creating a visual pathway with those components to be able to kind of connect them. I'm just going to give a little bit more under our lily here. There, and then this last, those side shoots that I pulled off, I can use those on the back side here to just create a little depth, but still staying in that same line that we have coming across there. And then just a little bit more of the fern coming in. It's just gonna dance a little bit more, give us a little bit more life to this, and just add another textural element that adds that visual interest. And it also adds some depth and dimension from one side to the other coming in. You can see that this adds some strong visual pathways on that horizontal plane that help to pull your eye through the design and out the other side. So here you can see 2 different presentations of the same floral combination. You can see here's more of a standard design that you might have in your cooler on a regular basis. But thinking creatively and really kind of challenging your thought process and doing an elongated design would be a great opportunity to do something different down a long table, but just different presentation for your customers. Also has great perceived value with really having those extended flowers and a placement for everything. Here, the lilies definitely has the opportunity to mature and have its own space. But so I hope you'll take these ideas and create some fabulous florals.